What's up everyone, welcome back to a new video. If you are new around here, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. So it's April 1st, which means it's also April Fool's Day, but not necessarily April Fool's Day because it's the first day of the month. It's time for another presidential prediction and see where the race stands. I have added Kennedy onto the list of candidates for the map because I feel like Kennedy is going to get a sizable or a bigger portion of the vote share than a lot of people are realizing. But before we get into this, let's take a look at the current polling and see where things stand. As of right now, Donald Trump leads the entire RCP aggregate by 1 point, and there are several polls that have him winning and tying by over 1 point. And then there are also like 2 or 3 of them that show Biden winning, which honestly is not a whole lot, and here are the rest of the polls that show Trump winning in a bunch of other places. The Quinnipiac poll tends to lean left, and people are going all over with that poll, saying that, okay, Trump is doomed. Well, Quinnipiac is technically a left-leaning poll, so in all honesty, I really don't think that that's anything to worry about. But if we go here and we go to the Kennedy polling, Trump is up by 5.4 in this aggregate, with Biden leading in a couple of these polls. But in realistic world, Trump is leading in pretty much every single swing state. If we look at Arizona, he's leading by 5.2 against Biden. Nevada, he's leading by 3. Wisconsin, he's leading by 0.8. Michigan, 3.5. Pennsylvania, 0.2. I don't think Kennedy is on the ballot yet in this state, along with North Carolina, where Trump is leading by 4.5 almost, which is a state I definitely think Trump is going to win at the end of the day, seemingly no matter what, because, well, North Carolina is a swing state, but it's one of the swing states that did not flip blue in 2020. A lot of people thought it would go blue, but it did not go blue. And Georgia, Trump is up by 5.2. But with that being said, we should also take a look at this, because RFK is on the ballot in Nevada, Utah, Hawaii, and New Hampshire. Now, this is good news for him already. He's already applied for ballot access or started opening petitioning windows for other states like Michigan and some of the other swing states out here like Georgia and North Carolina, which these states are going to take more votes away from Biden than Trump. And I have a whole nother video about that, which you can check out in the card in the upper right-hand corner above us. Wisconsin, the partitioning window opens on July 1st, and there are only 2,000 signatures needed in Wisconsin to get on the ballot. Same goes for Michigan. That's probably almost over. I don't know when he will be on. He probably will be on the ballot in Michigan, considering 12,000 signatures over the course of like 6 months should not be that hard to get. Especially in California, if you can get 1 million plus signatures in 60 days to recall Gavin Newsom in 2021. But anyways, I don't want to keep you guys waiting because it's time to fill out the map. We're going to start with the safe red states that are going to go safe no matter what the heck happens. These are all states that Donald Trump's going to win by 12 or more points, not necessarily Florida, but it could happen, you never know. I put Florida safe in my best case scenario, but in this scenario, I don't think it's safe just yet. Alaska, and then Maine's 2nd District, and Nebraska at large, giving Trump a floor of 149 electoral votes. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and add the popular vote share for all of these candidates in the popular vote aggregate. So I'll be right back and we'll continue on. So there you have it. Those are the margins we're working off in today's presidential prediction. So that being said, we're going to now go ahead and we're going to fill out the safe Democrat states. So that'd be all these states here, Hawaii, and then all of these states here on the eastern seaboard are all going to go Democrat by around 10 plus points. In the case of Vermont, probably by 30 points because that's what they do there. And then New York, then Colorado, that's a new Democrat safe entry, along with Illinois, and Maine's 1st District are all going to be in the safe Democratic column. So that being said, let's go ahead and let's fill out the likely Republican states. Texas and Florida. Florida, for all we know, could be safe at this point, just by judging how the state moved in 2016, or in 2020 from 2016. Miami-Dade County moved significantly to the right from 2022, or from 2016 in 2020, and DeSantis was able to flip that in 2022, and that's going to happen. That county's going to flip in 2024. And in Texas, this is a state that I definitely believe is going to move more to the right. I really do believe Texas is going to swing right because of the border issue and a bunch of issues in southern Texas that Biden has not been all that popular on, because at the end of the day, if you look at his job approval ratings, they are not at all good. He's in the gutter by like 16 points. I don't know where to find the issue pages, but in the world of reality, on the economy, Biden is disapproved. If we go to his biggest issue, which is immigration, he's down by 32 points. People do not believe in what he's doing to fix the immigration issue, so Trump is going to win Texas and Florida. Florida probably like 10, and Texas probably around 8 or 9. Texas could even be further right than that, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up, the likely Democratic states. New Mexico is really the only likely Democrat state. You could consider Colorado to be a likely Democrat state, but at this point, it's just moving left off of a big cliff. It's not really possible to get Colorado to move more to the right than it is currently. It's currently shifting left, and we'll get into that in my Senate prediction or my House prediction. But for now, Maine at large, that's going to be in the likely Democratic column. I've been seeing polls coming out with Maine at large in the Republican column. However, I really don't think that Maine at large is going to flip to Trump at the end of the day, because those polls have like 30 or 40% undecided. It's a massive amount of undecideds. So Trump could pick off Maine at large. He could, in a very best case scenario, like if everything goes right, that could happen. But at this point, I really don't see it happening. It would have to be like a really good night to let that happen. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill out the lean Republican states. North Carolina, I think that state's going to be a lean Republican state based on the polling in the 2020 election from North Carolina. We can get back here to the polls. It shouldn't be too hard. And we go to North Carolina. Trump is up by 4.4, and he won the state by around 1 to 2 points in the 2020 election. So if we look closely, a lot of the areas you saw in New Hanover County move a little bit left here by like 6 points. This county was won by Trump in 2020 or 2016 rather. Brunswick County did move left, but the northern area of North Carolina, a lot of conservatives moving here. This whole area is going to continue to move right, and the Raleigh suburbs are going to continue to move right, while the Charlotte suburbs continue to move left off a cliff. And Trump could very well carry, I forget her name, over the top to win the Senate, to win the House seat up there. So yeah, that state's going to be in the Republican column. In the Democrat column, Minnesota and Virginia are both going to be lean Democrat states, along with New Hampshire. But New Hampshire, I think we'll save that for the tilt states, because New Hampshire is going to be rather close. There isn't any polling, as far as I'm concerned, out of the state of New Hampshire, especially on RCP. I don't see any polling here from RCP, especially regarding New Hampshire. So I'll leave New Hampshire, and we'll put that in the tilt column in just a moment. So that being said, the presidential election is going to come down to these 7 states. But first, before we get really far, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to fill out Nebraska second in the lean Democrat column. That district is just too far left. If Bacon goes down in the primary, which I hope he does, we lose the seat. Now, I would probably rather have a Democrat in that seat over Don Bacon, because Don Bacon is essentially a Democrat. But on the other note, that district is just way too far left. He keeps hanging on by like a point or two. It is possible that Dan Fry, if he gets the nomination, he could win it, but it's going to be an uphill climb, and I just don't see it possible at this time. So if Don Bacon holds on, we'll hold that seat probably. But if Dan Fry wins the nomination, that seat's probably going to go down, or we're going to lose that seat, which wouldn't be the worst in the world, because I don't like Don Bacon. But at the end of the day, it's not really the most ideal seat for Republicans to win. And even if Don Bacon is the nominee, he could go down at the end of the day. So that being said, the presidential prediction is going to come down to these 7 states. Georgia, do I really have anything to explain about Georgia? That's going to be a tilt Republican state. If we look at the polling from Georgia, Trump is up by 5.2. I could even say that this state would be a lean state based on the polls, because after all, I'm doing this prediction somewhat based off of polling that we have. Unless there is no polling for that specific state, then I'm just going off of what they did in 2020 and just moving it around, like if trends continue. I believe in the metro Atlanta area, Biden is not liked, and he's not doing well with black voters, especially in Atlanta. So with that being said, Georgia's going to be a tilt or a lean Republican state. And now that Trump has won Georgia. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fill out New Hampshire nope. There we go. Wow, that took a while. I guess today, April Fool's Day, is not really up my alley for right now. But with that being said, Wisconsin. So after Trump wins Georgia, he has 5 very simple ways to win 270 electoral votes. He could win in several of these combos. He could just get Pennsylvania, giving him 270. He could also get a pair of any of Michigan and Wisconsin. He could also get Michigan and Nevada, giving him 272. He could also get Wisconsin and Arizona, giving him 272. He could also get... Yeah, he can't get... However, it will not work if you get Wisconsin and Nevada. You'd have to pick off another one of these states, probably Arizona in that scenario, in order to clear 270 and get over the top. So you either need a pair or a trio of Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona. Given polling in Pennsylvania, we'll go back to Pennsylvania here real quick. If we look at the polling, Trump is up by 0.2 in the 5-way. However, he is up by 2 points, which in theoretically, that could very well be a Trump-friendly state this time around, and Pennsylvania will flip to the Republican column. And Trump needs to put a lot of work into Pennsylvania, but he can flip it. Trump did not lead the polls in Pennsylvania in 2020, but he led them for a combined day or two in Pennsylvania in 2016. No one believed that he was going to flip it, but he ended up flipping it at the end of the day, which was pretty absurd. So that being said, now that he's won Pennsylvania, we're going to go and we're going to clear on. But anyway, he pretty much now has cleared the threshold to win the presidential election. So that being said, given current polling as well, he can also win Michigan by around 3.5 points. So Michigan, if polls continue, Michigan's going to go to Trump by around 3 points. I don't think that the poll is correct. I think it's going to be a lot less than that. But if the polls show him winning Michigan, he's winning Michigan. He didn't win Michigan in 2020, and polls did not show that. These were the polls in Michigan in 2020. Biden was up by 4.2. There was one poll here that said Trump was up by 2, but that was a Republican insider. But all the other polls had Biden up by like 7, and Trump still managed to outperform the polls. Biden was supposed to win by 4.2. Biden won the state by 2.8 in 2020, and that was still pretty impressive given you had a pandemic that hit and backfired big on Trump at the time. So that being said, if we go to Wisconsin, which is another toss-up state, I think Trump is also going to win Wisconsin. This is another state that it did not show Trump winning the state in 2020. It was closer than Michigan for sure. The final results, Trump outperformed by 6 points. It showed Biden was going to win the state by about 6.7 points, but he only won by 0.7. So that's another example of a state that will likely easily flip back to Trump, given the current standing of the polling here in Wisconsin. Trump is up by 0.8, and knowing that Trump outperformed his polls, he could possibly win it by more than 2. But at this point, I just don't see that happening. And next up, Nevada. Do I really have to say anything about Nevada? Trump might flip Nevada. Trump will flip Nevada for the first time in quite a while. His handpick flipped the governorship, and right now he's leading the polls by about 3 points in Nevada. Where in 2020, I don't have any polling for 2020. I don't think he led. I'll look it up and figure out some polling from 2020 when I upload this video. But for now, Trump is leading by 3. If we go to the 5-way, he is up by 6, which is very impressive considering he never won Nevada before, and he outperformed in 2020. If we look at the 2020 election results and just zoom in on Nevada, he lost the state by about 4 points. If he improves in Clark County, he will win the state, and if he flips Washoe County, he will win the state. It's going to be razor thin either way, but given the Vegas area trends continuing to shift right, it shifted right by 1.4. And it shifted right in the midterm elections, which was another big plus for Donald Trump. Then Nevada will flip. He will flip Nevada. Now Arizona's an interesting state. I don't really have much to say on Arizona. Trump is leading the polls in Arizona, which is a good sign for Joe Biden, and the border crisis issue in Arizona has not been popular among those living in Arizona. But honestly, for Arizona, I really can't see Trump winning the state. Well, he probably will win the state at the end of the day. If we're talking realistic case, you would have to give this to Donald Trump. At the end of the day, I don't know whether or not he will or he will not win Arizona. It's going to be a close state. But theoretically, it could go either way. It could go to Biden by about two to Biden, or it could go to Trump. It really depends. He needs to work hard to win Arizona, and I'm sure he will. But if he wins Arizona, he will win the election with 312 electoral votes. Joe Biden's 226. So that's basically how the map would look. That is your final map. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe down below if you're new. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of your happy April Fool's Day.